Here we go, and we're live. And hi guys, welcome to another video by myself, AntiquesArena, and Nick from Nick and Andrea Hills. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to have a chat today about Lego, reselling Lego, what it's worth, a bit of value, things like that. Now, Nick is, I'll let him introduce himself in just a minute, but he's been dealing in Lego for quite a few years, so he's going to share some of his experience with us and shock us with some prices. But before I do that, let Nick introduce himself.
Yeah, hi, how are you? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm Nick, online reseller and YouTuber. And like you say, I've been dealing in Lego since I started on eBay back in the late 90s. So I've sold a fair amount of the stuff. For a while, actually, we did nothing but Lego. There's a whole business model just in buying Lego in bulk and breaking it down. But we'll get on to that in a bit. So yeah, I thought I'd just share a little bit. I've just recently finished sorting about a 40 kilo haul, and I've got a bunch of Lego going out today, so I can talk about what's sold overnight and share some of how I do it. There's many ways to resell Lego, so
I'm looking forward to it. I know I watched one of your videos a day or two ago, and you were talking about Lego in one of your videos of things that, I'm not sure if it was one I watched this morning. Basically, you were talking about things people want to buy now with the current situation. And you were talking about jigsaws and Lego for the children, to occupy the children. And you sold a piece of Lego whilst actually live. So it is a big market for yourself.
Well, Lego's constant anyway. The demand is huge. I mean, if you go onto eBay and just browse around on completeds on Lego and just see how much is available and how much is selling, it is the world's most popular toy. There's an endless demand for it. The trouble with Lego, and perhaps we'll get on to how about sourcing it, is unfortunately, if you like, most people know the value of Lego, or most people know it has some value. So it has got a lot harder to source.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to selling it, it sells itself. I've said it many times. You don't have to be clever to sell Lego. It really does sell itself.
Well, I've bought Lego a few times. As you know, I've been doing antiques and collectibles for nearly 20 years. And I actually made a video 12 or 14 months ago about Lego, not about Lego value and things like that. I went down the line of, if you wanted to bring your family into antiques and collecting, then Lego was a perfect little, an area to start them in. Let me share a photo with you now. You haven't seen this. Screen share. Have a look at this for a photo. That was a video I done back about 14 months ago. We picked up a job lot from a charity shop for about £15.
Whoa, nice buy. Is that all Lego? Was that all genuine?
All genuine mixed Lego. And I think it was about 20, 30 kilos. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah,
and we paid about £15 for it.
Wow.
And I didn't have a clue. I literally bought it. I say I bought that. And I thought, me and the kids can enjoy playing with it. The kids can build stuff out of it. And I thought it's just a nice way of sharing collecting with your kids. You know, it was a way of introducing them to the collecting area, something you can have fun with and still make a bit of money. In the end, they played with it for nearly a year and a half, 2 years. And then I sold it all by weight. Now, I weren't as clever as you. I just weighed it and sold it. I think I sold it for £10 a kilo. But it had everything in it.
Right. Well, I do it by weight. We'll get onto that in a minute. But yeah, you say, let's say that was what, 30 kilos max, maybe 25. Let's call that 25. Yeah. And if you paid 11, what did you pay? £15.
Oh, £15 for all of it.
Yeah. Well, that is an absolute bargain. The lot I've just sorted, I paid 154, and I thought I had an amazing bargain.
Well, that had figures, it had vehicles, yeah, exactly. It had everything in it. It was unbelievable. The kids, honest to God, you wouldn't believe the fun the kids had with that.
Yeah.
Because back then, when I started doing YouTube, I was doing a lot of videos of, because I was taking the children with me a lot. So I thought, do family time videos. And we'd go out and we'd buy marbles and show we could buy marbles and Legos and different things that could involve your children, to involve the children in the business and the collecting side.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an amazing mix of Lego. Really was.
Well, should we start with, because you said when you did sell that, you sold it by the kilo.
Yes.
Was that on eBay?
No. I went to a car boot sale and I weighed him up into, it was either 5 or 10 kilo tubs, and sold him at 50 quid a tub. I think they were 5 kilo tubs I weighed him into, and I sold him at 50 quid a tub on a car boot sale.
Well, that's not bad at all, really. I've just sold another 2 have gone out today. So this is a kilo of mixed Lego, but this has been sorted. So all of the figures have come out.
Yeah.
All of the high value stuff has come out. All of the Star Wars stuff has come out. It's all been sorted separately. So this is just mixed Lego. I'll be able to share the listing actually. If you now, how did we do this last time?
Screen share down the bottom should be.
Share screen. So this is my listing, if I can bring it up. Okay, you should be able to.
Yes, I can do that. Now. There you go, Nick.
So as you see, I've got 1 left. I've sold 2 in the last 24 hours. So the bulk of that 35, 40 kilo lot, after I've been through and taken out the cream of it, I've been selling currently at $17.99 a kilo. That's free shipping. So you can see, I mean, I used to sell it for higher than that, but it's very, very competitive now. I could go higher and wait, but I'm a little bit under the real top ranked sellers on this just to get the sales. But I'm happy with that at $17.99 a kilo.
What's your shipment? I know you said it's free, but you pay for shipping.
£3 roughly with my.
You don't do it track then, do you?
Sorry?
You doing that track then or sign for or just shipped?
Yeah, that's tracked. Royal Mail 48. Yeah, it's tracked.
That's because of your contract then, because if I was to ship that second class signed for as a standard shipping, it'd be £4.
Yeah, that is through Click and Drop.
Yeah, you got your contracts. But if the general public wanted to do it, a small parcel up to 2 kilos is £4 tracked second class tracked or signed for. Yeah,
I'm not up to date with what current prices are. I'm only used to what I do, but it costs me. It's a little bit under £3 actually, but we'll call it £3. So you can see it's not bad. That's for your bog standard mixed Lego. Now, with that, I have been through all of this. I have touched each individual piece. I can do it quickly because I've been doing it for years, but I have taken out all of the rubbish. You may have seen a recent video where I shared this, for example.
Is it the train tracks?
No, this is some of the crap that I took out.
Wow. No, I haven't seen it.
Because it was an amazing pickup, I thought, at £150 for 35, 40 kilos, but it had loads of mega blocks in it. It also had the usual crap, the marbles, the dead batteries and all of that. Yes. So there is a certain amount of work. If you're lucky and you get a clean haul, like it sounds you did, you got a clean haul that is
I did. Nothing but Lego.
Yeah, you can tell very quickly and you can whiz through that, maybe pull out the odd little bit of rubbish. But there is a fair amount of time. If you want to sell a lot, like by the kilo and say it's 100% Lego, you've got to put the work in and check it.
Yeah.
Because people will be really picky and they will moan about it. Rightfully so if they get mega blocks or any other crap in there. So there is a certain amount of work. But then, I mean, that listing that I shared, that's been on a week or two, and I sold, I don't know how many I sold off that actually now. Let me just see, it should tell me. But it sells fast and it sells easy. And that's kind of my investment back. That's got all the money back. How many is on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 I've sold off that.
At £18?
Yeah, I think I started it slightly cheaper to get the ball rolling. And then once I started to rank, I will inch the price up.
Oh, that's fair enough.
But when I used to do Lego and nothing but Lego, we used to rank at #1 for kilos. And I think back then we were selling it around £20, but we were doing 5 to 10 kilos a day just off that one listing. And we would rank #1 for that. But that's a long time ago. That's getting on about 8 years ago, I think.
Well, I know I was speaking to you on text message the other night, and you texted me a picture of an offer you'd had in for some Lego, and that you'd put it on an hour or so earlier. You'd offered £45, and you turned it down because you said it's only just gone on, and I know it'll sell straight away at the full price.
That might have been some figures. Was that the Star Wars figure?
Yes.
Well, funnily enough, I had 2 lots. I'll share them actually. So going back to this haul I had, very similar haul to what you just showed. Oh, that's the sales I've had on.
I'll take. Is that okay up or not with the names?
Yeah, you can put that on. That's fine. But I'm going to move on to. Okay. I think this was the lot that I had an offer on.
That's the one. Yeah, they'd offered you something like £45 or something, and you turned it down straight away. And I said to you, "Are you nuts?"
Yeah.
For a few pieces of plastic, and they saw. Look at that.
Yeah, well, this is a mixed lot. I mean, obviously, figures. Pretty much any bog standard figure is worth, sort of 80p roughly. You can bundle them up and you can sell them just as like 10 figures or 20 figures, sell them in little lots. It's actually been a while, so I might be slightly out of touch with value, but that's what it used to be. 80p to £1 a figure is worth. So to give you an example, the job lot that I picked up recently, I went through and here's some. That's 4 boxes. It's about 200 figures there. So you can see my £150 that I spent on that Lego. You just saw how many kilos I've sold. That's got my investment back and in profit. And then this is where you cream it all off. Just on the figures, there's a couple of £100 worth. Little minifigure accessories. I've probably got another £50 worth of those there. Animals and horses. You can sell either individually or in little lots, and it soon adds up. And then when you get into the themes, some of the main themes are Star Wars, obviously. Harry Potter can be also just as valuable. And then the vintage stuff. I'll share some pictures in a minute of the vintage stuff. That's a whole other board game. But if we go back to this one that I shared of my listing, that actually only just went out yesterday. Sales dropped for us, as they have for a lot of people.
Yes.
Over the last week. With all the chaos, eBay hasn't been on people's minds. So I sent out an offer on this one of 50 and it went in seconds, and I sent out an offer of 50 on this other one. Let me bring it up. I did 2 job lots of Star Wars. This was the other one. I sent out offers at the same time, and they both sold at 50 within a minute of sending out the offers. And I job lotted these up. There's a couple of nice ones in here, but there's nothing in here worth more than about £3, £3 or £4 a figure. And a lot of them have the wrong heads, the wrong legs, don't have their accessories. Some don't even have a head. But as you can see, the value is there. And it doesn't take long to go through and just pull out the Star Wars stuff. You can do the same with Harry Potter, make a little bundle. And then, of course, there are ones that are worth selling individually. You'll learn that if you do much of it. But of course, eBay is your resource to find this stuff out.
Yes.
There are also, as I shared with you last time when we talked about the Thundercats and stuff, there are sites that list all of the figures. So if you don't know what you've got, you should be able to work out who your character is. I've got actually this thing, which is a handy book. You can
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, you can pick these up. This is a little bit out of date. As in it doesn't go up to the current.
Yeah.
But you can pick these up at boot sales for 50p or in charity shops. And it's really, really handy. There's some in here that I've just sold, actually.
Nick, share the ISBN of that book. Nick,
sorry?
Put the ISBN up on the screen for anyone who wants the book.
They can pause it there.
Yes.
If you just search Star Wars Lego Encyclopedia, they're all over eBay anyway. They're not expensive. But yeah, so let's see. I think I bought up some of the individual. I've been sharing them in my videos recently anyway. But yeah, here's that little Greedo, for example. So you can see it's worth your time to fish out. Is that coming up?
Yeah, there you go.
So it's worth your time to check the individual figures. It doesn't take too long as you know the names. And again, if you're going to get into that, you will soon learn the rare stuff.
Yes.
So he sold quick for a tenner. Obviously, that's free shipping, but he goes as a large letter. That cost me about 70p or something like that. Happy days. And that's a couple of grams of Lego. You know, it's when you're buying it by weight in the first place and you get all of that money back selling it by the kilo, which sells itself. This is all profit after fees.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great fun as well if you're into Lego. I know some people just can't stand the thought of sorting Lego. I've been doing it for the last week or two and thoroughly enjoying it.
I'd be honest with you, right? I can't face myself to buy a crate of Lego like we did back then. I bought it then mainly. I wanted to make the video with it for the kids, and I wanted the kids to play with it. But I can't see me sitting down, because I know a couple of dealers who actually buy the booklets for sets, and they match pieces to the booklets, make up a full set, and then sell it with the book and just the bundled up set in plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
That must be some serious work. I understand eventually your brain's going to get to identifying these components quite easily. But oh my God, the hours they must spend to make up sets. And what he said is they have tubs with all the different codes for the pieces. And as the pieces come in, they just chuck them in the tubs. Then they get instructions. Once they got enough to make up a set, they sell a set off with the instructions.
Yeah, I used to do a lot more of that. With this lot, I tried to make up a couple of Star Wars sets.
Yeah.
And it's not really time efficient for me right now. When I was set up and just doing Lego, as you said, and we used to sell individual parts right down to the part number. So I could go to my own inventory and find the part I needed.
Yeah.
You know, quite easily for a lot of stuff. I only made up one set, which sold... I'll show you. I think I brought the screen up. And I made this one up, if I can find it. This one. Because the ship was already mostly built anyway. It was still in the box. Not in the box, in the job lot. Yes. Most of that ship was there. So I just found the droids and found other bits and bobs and put it together. So it was only probably half an hour to an hour's work. And that sold overnight for £40. So you can see it's worth it. But it wouldn't have been worth me spending 5 hours fishing out all of those individual bits if it was completely broken down. In the past, I would have done it. I really would have spent the time to do it. But that's my doorbell going. Hopefully Andrew's going to get that. But then with Star Wars, as I said, with this job lot, I picked out all of the Star Wars stuff, basically grey and tan and stuff that's obviously from Star Wars sets that you can recognize. Yeah. Part built sets and stuff that I did try and build up this Cantina set, which is worth about £80, but it was missing some key parts in the end. So I ended up selling off this dewback for 35. And the figures, I've ended up with about 50 quid from it. So
the instruction books are worth money anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, I've actually bundled that in with this because the Cantina set, almost complete, is in it. So all of that is on at 150, just to give you an idea. That's 5 kilos. And I've had loads of offers, but I'm holding out for at least 100 on that. So yeah, I can't think what else I was going to say now. Oh yeah, one that went. I struggle to not start picking out all the individual bits. I told myself I'm just gonna do the figures and I'm gonna sell the Lego in bulk this time because I've got so much other stock to be going on with. Yeah. And I needed to move this Lego, but I couldn't get out of the habit of a few things. So I did part out a couple of other bits. One that sold last night. I've just packaged it actually, so I can't show you, but let me find the image.
You're looking there now. Just want to tell people we will get to questions and comments in a bit, but we're just going to have a chat first, and then we'll get to any questions or comments.
So there, for example, it's in there, but that's just Lego flowers and plants, and that's £20, and that's sold within 24 hours. And I've got another lot that's on. I think I've got one left. Now, this takes seconds when you're going through your Lego just to pick out anything that's a plant, right? And you chuck it in a box, and then you lay it out on the side, as was in that picture. So that's 20 quid a packet. You see, why wouldn't you? But then it becomes like a rabbit hole. You start going down. Well, I'm going to pick out all the doors and windows, and I actually did that as well because there's easy money in it. I shared in a recent video, actually. These are just police station windows. Oh, actually, these are jail doors and windows.
I know you shared in one of your recent videos train tracks. Did you sell those train tracks, or did you just separate them out?
Train tracks?
Yeah, little tracks, roads or something like that.
I didn't have any train tracks. I had baseboards with some of the road baseboards.
Might have been that. I definitely saw something you shared. You had a little money bag of tracks. I'm sure it was in one of your videos recently.
Oh yeah, they are actually tracks from diggers. They're Lego Technics. Yeah. Well, one's going out today. There's 57 in there. I sold a lot of 100 for £10. This lot of 57. I think I bought that up actually. Now Technics Lego. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, that's the stuff that takes batteries and just drives around on like remote control, isn't it?
Yes. If you screen share.
Yes.
So as I went through that haul, I pulled out anything that's Technics. So it's all of the cogs and the beams that have the holes in, so you can attach stuff to it.
Yeah.
As you can see in here, the wheels, all of this stuff. There's an engine block there. So it doesn't take too many seconds because you have to go through the Lego to check it's all Lego anyway. So you have a few boxes laid out and you just chuck the Technics there, chuck the Technics there, the figures there, the Star Wars there.
Yeah.
In the past, I'd have like 30 buckets. I had like 4 or 5 this time. I was trying to do it quick. So I ended up with exactly 2 kilos. It was amazing. It was on the button 2 kilos. In the past, I would have done that in 500 kilo lots. For about 500 kilo gram. Yeah. Yeah, I used to do that in 500 gram lots, and I can't remember. It was either like it's about £15, I think, but that would be slow, and it's really competitive at the minute. So I just chucked it all on 50 quid for the 2 kilos, and it went overnight. So there you go.
Let me stop you over there, right? Because you've said this now about 4 times, this comment out, that it's really competitive. Do you mean it's really competitive to buy it, or do you mean it's competitive to sell it, as in you got to knock the pricing down? Because the prices you're pulling by there are not competitive prices in my eyes.
That's cheap. What I've sold.
If that's competitive, then it's worth doing, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, per kilo, people are pulling up to 30 quid.
Well, you've achieved £25 a kilo by there.
Yeah, exactly. So by lotting it together for 50, there's a guy who's ranking top for the kilo of this, doing them £30, and he's selling kilos a day on a daily basis. Right. But I just figured I'd get the sale quick on that. And this has gone international on GSP as well, I'm pretty sure. And then, of course, I could have broken this down, and I did a little bit, and I shared in one of my videos. I picked up actually in a charity shop a little lot of pneumatic.
Are they the stuff like you like pump?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I broke that down. The bricks and the other bits and bobs I chucked in the job lot you saw, and all I pulled out was these little switches and the pumps, and that's gone for £20. And that for some reason I got shipping on top, and that's £23 total, and that's about 20 grams of Lego.
That's shocking, to be honest with you, just for pumps.
You can go to the length. You see those little T-bars, these little, they're connectors for the tube.
Yeah.
People sell those individually on eBay, and you could sell one of those switch blocks probably for 3 quid. Depends how far into it you want to go, and that's how we used to do it. I used to have thousands of little of these pots. Let me grab them, and they've still got the reference numbers on from when I used to do it. So we used to have shelving just covered in these, all stacked up, numbered from 0 to 1,000 odd. Yeah. And I'd have individual parts in. So I might have those pneumatic pumps in here, doing them at £3 each, all listed on the same listing. Those little T-bars might be in another one at like £1 each. Buy as many as you want off the same listing. And if you build up a store that way, people come back to you and build up an order. All the parts they want, and they get
buying a job lot that they don't want and junking it. They just buy the specific items. Even if it works out dear, they're still saving a couple of pounds, I would imagine.
Yeah, and they save on shipping buying from you. And once you build up a few people who have used you and they got good service, they come back. So that's what we did for quite a while. Trouble is with me, I struggle to not pick up something if I can make money on it. So I was still picking up the board games and the books and the vintage stuff. So I went back to being a generalist, really, and now I just pick up Lego and stockpile it, and then once in a while I do what I've just done over the last couple of weeks, and I have a big purge of Lego and enjoy it more than I used to when I was doing it full time, because it got really repetitive, really dull.
Well, I can imagine, right? I wouldn't be willing to list something for £2 or £3. It's not worth my time or my effort. But what I could imagine doing there is, if you're buying £150 worth of Lego by weight, then I would imagine you got multiple of one item. So even though it's only a £3 listing, you might have 50 of that £3 listing.
Yeah, and here's the thing: there are stores, if you go on and have a look, once you've made that listing of part number 6675 or whatever it is, and within that you can buy a black one, a blue one, a pink one, an orange one. You can drop down that.
Yeah.
That listing's done. Next time you get a job lot in,
you just chuck them in and add to the quantity.
I've got another 20 part number, whatever. You go and adjust it. And the point is, it's not a £2 listing for an item. You've got £100 worth of stock on that listing.
Yeah.
And it sits there for years, ticking along. And people don't just buy one of those bricks; they buy 2 of these other bricks, and that figure, and this base plate.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So your average, excuse me, it's not the virus, don't worry. Your average order isn't £2; it's £10 or £20.
Yeah,
and it makes sense. But, and it is a big but, it takes a long time to build up a store like that. A long time when you are getting.
Imagine.
Yeah, so there is a huge market for it, and there is a business just within what we've just talked about, selling Lego.
I can see good money in the Lego, I'll be honest with you. Now, as I told you already, I used to buy it and I'd let the kids play with it. But I dread to think how much money's worth I sold when I sold that load at £50 a crate at the car boot sale, because it was dealers that bought it off me. Mm-hmm. And we had figures, vehicles, animals, you name it. We had everything in there. So I dread to think how much money's worth I sold.
Yeah, exactly. But in saying that, you pay 15 and you got however many hundred back.
Probably about £150, £200 back.
Yeah, for virtually no work.
And a year and a half playing with the kids.
Exactly. So there's degrees of it, isn't there? To get down to the level where you're parting it out and your office is full of cabinets like this, each with individual bricks in. You'd have to put thousands of hours of work in. Sometimes it makes sense to just do a quick flip, But
what I should have done, right, is just a quick sort through figures, animals, trees, vehicles, and then blocks, and just weighed in the blocks rather than everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the blocks. And I mean, this is what I've got left of my kilo stuff. And it's everything else, really. So it is a lot of bricks, but it's plates and it's odd parts and pieces and whatever. And as you can see, I've probably got 5 kilos left in there. I think the listing says 1, so I need to adjust that. But it works and it sells quick.
Nick, do you think you got enough Lego to build me a new house?
Hey?
Do you think you got enough Lego to build me a new house? I might need one.
If you shrink yourself down to this size, yes.
Is that Princess Anna?
That's
Elsa.
That's Elsa. Yeah. These are Lego Friends figures that don't look like Lego figures. They're the new style.
It's like little dolls, don't they?
Yeah. So they're going on for a tenner. And this is, I shared this the other night actually. This is Merida.
Yeah, I watched the video and someone was saying they didn't like it, and you said, "You don't have to like it, Peter." That's it. You told him you don't have to like it, you just have to sell it. It's worth a profit. I watched.
I'm going to put her on for a tenner. I've got the accessories that go with her that adds to the value, so that'll be a tenner.
But okay, now before you go any further, then right, like when we talked about the Thundercats, now you mentioned people sell accessories on their own. So let's say now you didn't have figures, you sorted all your boxes out, and at the very bottom's all the tiny little accessories. Have you split those up and sold those on their own just as mixed accessories? Or you've
absolutely.
done that as well?
Yeah. Bear with.
I've got a crate for everything.
I'm in the middle of sorting out what's left of the accessories. So I just grabbed out of a heap. So we've got swords, we've got a bike. I used to sell these on their own, actually. There's some value in them, the bikes. A broom, a scorpion,
Awesome.
a hairbrush, a pair of binoculars, and a helmet, etc. So I'll just do. I did have a lot running for a while. Last time I did Lego of 50 or 100 accessories for, I can't even remember what it was. Might have been a tenner.
So they're big money. They're not like 50 pence or a pound each type thing then.
No, unless you've got something really specific,
like the bike.
From a Star Wars figure or a Harry Potter figure that's rare, then you know you're going to struggle to pull that sort of money. What I've got here, I've probably got 500 odd parts. I'll do 2 or 3 bundles just to move them. But I'll get another, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 quid out of these bits that weigh nothing, you know.
So they are obviously going to go to a trade, aren't they? Dealers like yourself who've got the figures and want to make figures up to sell a complete figure.
I doubt it. They'll go to the end user. A parent whose kids are mad on Lego and they want accessories for their figures. That's where I think they're going.
I would have gone the other way. See, I would have thought a dealer would have bought those to increase the value of their individual figures.
Maybe you might be right.
That's what I would have thought they would have gone, because if the end user might want 1 or 2 accessories for 1 or 2 figures, a bundle of 100 accessories, that's dealer material, in my opinion.
Possibly. Yeah, you might be right, but I'm happy to move it because at this point I'm already in profit on the whole lot, and I love that point in a haul. You know, yeah, I'm far into profit now, and I haven't started selling off the bulk of the figures. You know.
Yes.
So it's fun. Did you have any questions? Actually, let me pull up some more pictures because they're fun. Let me see what I didn't share with you so far.
There are plenty of questions coming in, but we'll get to them towards the end because they kind of throw you off your track when you go wandering.
Yeah. So I pulled up just a few. This is another one that's going out today. So they're going as a large letter, and it weighs, I'm guessing, 30 grams. You know, so pennies to send really. And I just
this returned. You know, do people buy this stuff and go, "Oh my God, it's like 30 grams. I want my money back"?
I don't think I've ever had any Lego back. Touch wood. No. The only thing I have had selling the kilos, but the kilo lots, I've had a few times in the past when I was doing this and nothing but this. We might sell 10 kilos a day. The odd one would say, I've only received 750 grams. And we know what we're doing. We weigh it out carefully. We actually put in 10, 20 grams more just to be on the safe side. And we used to get people fishing for partial refunds and this, that, and the other. And I think how we handled it back then was we just chucked another, couple of 100 grams in the post for them, just to make them go away. But yeah, so that's the only. I've never had people returning it because they thought they'd paid too much or whatever.
Now, I've sold cigarette cards, collectible cards, and things in the past by the bundle. And I recently, about 5 months ago, had an instance where I sold a load of ABC cards, or A and BC cards, right? Yep. And I sold a bundle. They received them. Next thing you know, apparently there was 2 rare cards in there, and them cards weren't included in my bundle. Now, I didn't even have a clue what was the rare cards. So they'd obviously had the bundle, took the 2 cards out and said, "Where's my cards? I want to send it back." And I told them, "Way to go." Wow. They didn't actually open an eBay dispute, but I would have argued it with eBay because I actually made a film on them cards, bundled them up on the film, and then put them in a box because, I wrap my stuff as I sell it. So I'd imagine you are very similar, or I thought you would have had similar, where people would buy a job lot, take 1 or 2 pieces out of the job lot that they needed, and then return it so they had them little pieces for free.
No, I've not had that scenario. And also because when I sell by weight, I have a generic image of a box of Lego and say you will get a random kilo, so they don't know what parts they're getting anyway. Yeah. To pull out the odd bits. So, but generally with Lego, you're selling to collectors, or you're selling to kids who just want those skeleton horses, for example, or whatever. And it doesn't feel like it's kind of the scammers end of eBay. I tend to get scammed on electronics and high value stuff. Yeah, Lego doesn't tend to fall into that. Let's share a few more pictures then. So these are the skeleton horses. Again, just pick them out as I went. I added those little skeletons onto the back. I added that little pumpkin thing. This isn't a set that's normally a set. I just threw that together. Right. And I was very surprised I got a tenner for that. Very surprised. I made up a price on that. and that stuck. That didn't stick around at all. Let's see what else I bought up. Oh yeah, so these are the little tracks that you're talking about. So these are.
Yes, I thought they were train tracks, but no, obviously not.
No, they're for like bulldozers and that sort of stuff. And again, this is very little work because usually you find them in a bundle and they're in one long thing where they've come off a Technics vehicle. So they're all still stuck together. So I just chucked all of those to one side and made up 2 lots. This lot of 100, which went for a tenner within a couple of days. The lot that's going out today was what I had left, which was 57. And that's gone for £6. No work, really. No weight in it. Goes as a large letter.
Yeah.
You might as well, right? It's just profit on top of...
Definitely.
What you've already made. So what else have we got? So obviously it's always fun to search and find out the crazy prices. And this, it won't surprise you what is the most expensive Star Wars set I found that had sold.
Probably 3,000, 4,000.
Yeah, well it's the Death Star too, and it's $2.5 nearly. Which is insane. The funny thing is about the sets, the pieces in that are just regular Lego pieces. You know, figures usually are unique to certain sets, but that's just a load of Lego pieces in a box.
It's not that old either. I've just looked at the date, 2005 in the title. So you're not talking a seriously old piece of Lego here.
No, but I'm not sure what it would have been new, but it wouldn't have been cheap new.
It would have been a couple of £100, I would imagine, and it probably would have been a special edition, wouldn't it?
It was limited. That's the point. There's a big market for sets, and people buy Lego and put it in their loft and wait until the set is discontinued. So there's a huge market for new Lego. It's never something I've really got into. I did dabble in it when they started doing Minecraft, and I bought some Minecraft sets in bulk.
Yeah,
and did okay on that, but I didn't really wait long enough. But yeah, so it can be amazing what people are prepared. Again, when we did the Thundercats one, it's amazing what people are prepared to pay on this stuff.
Yes.
And then with figures, there's a huge market. I shared some of those Star Wars figures. Obviously, there's the expensive end of that would be this guy, for example, is one example of many. So this is Captain Antilles at £68 for one figure, which is nuts, right?
Which you would have been in a pack of probably 4 or 5 figures for a tenner originally.
Well, no, they come with sets. So this would have been in with a I don't know, one of the ships or something, and he was almost certainly an exclusive to that set. In the same way that the Greedo I had, or some of the other figures I've sold recently, you would only be able to buy it originally in a set that might have cost you £80, and then that was a limited set. So you can see why the figures themselves hold value to collectors, because you would have had to buy an expensive set just to get that figure, and buy it at the time when it was available, because these are all long since out of production. So yeah, so that gives you an idea. If you were thinking maybe I'll check my figures, maybe I'll chuck them in, check your figures, because you might be sitting on, you know, £100 figure quite easily. And it's the same within Harry Potter. There are rare figures. They don't tend to fetch the top end of the Star Wars range, but within Harry Potter and some of the other sets as well, Ninjago, that sort of stuff, there are figures that are really sought after.
Do you sell it on auction then, Nick, or do you do yours buy it now?
Buy it now.
Have you ever tried the auction with a Lego? Does it work, or is it got to be buy it now for you, in your opinion, to get the right price?
It does work really well on auction with Lego because the demand is there.
Right.
There's so many collectors and there are so many end users who just want the Lego. It does tend to reach somewhere near its level, but I just find it more. I'm more comfortable doing buy it now, and you can usually find examples of anything you can imagine Lego wise that's already sold, to find out what the market value is, and then you pitch it there or above. And
yeah, that's what I tend to do with the collectibles market, to be honest. To search what comparables have sold for and market around that.
Exactly. So talking of Harry Potter, when Angie and I first started full-time on eBay, and we first started to dabble in buying new stock and doing retail arbitrage, as they call it, these were the sets we were buying back in 2001, 2002, around that time. So I was buying these for £80 in Tesco's and flipping them on eBay for about 200 or something. And now look at that. That's used, not in its box. That's used $450. it's just mind-blowing. But look at the amount of figures, and a lot of these figures potentially are unique to that set.
I would imagine you could sell the figures individually anyway if you didn't have the set, couldn't you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, most definitely. Looking at it, I'm not sure there are many unique to that set. They all look like they may have been in others, but they changed the uniforms and the stuff, so people get into it in such a fine detail.
Yeah,
slight differences mean that they're worth more, but yeah, there's not a great deal of Lego when you look at it there for £450.
no,
it's shocking, really. And then if we go into vintage, now this is more into your realm, the antique, and the early stuff, because Lego's been going since 50s, I think. I want to say it's 50s it started. This is a 1960s set, and that's gone at 825. Now, a big part of that, as you'll be aware, is the box. It's got the packaging. The packaging looks in pretty fine condition from what I can see.
Everything in vintage, it really is.
Because again, there's not a great deal of Lego in there, but if you look, this is before everything was kind of modular and fitted together. So those trees are like individually shaped trees. The cars and stuff there are more like little Matchbox toys. So this is before the kind of modern version of Lego that we all know today.
I know.
So yeah, that's really nice. So that's going to a collector. That's going to a bloke probably older than us who's just, wanting his childhood back, and is going to...
Yeah, well, it's the same as what we were talking about with the Thundercats and things the other week. Nostalgia.
Absolutely.
That's what most of it is nostalgia.
Yeah. And this stuff is out and about. I managed to find... I sold it on eBay a few years back, and it was actually still in the cellophane. But it was a tiny little set with not many bricks in. I can't remember what I got. It was only, I don't know, I don't think I got more than 100 for it, but it was just literally a little box of bricks, and it wasn't quite as early as this. But the stuff is out there. It's sitting in lofts, and it will turn up at...
I've done well on early Meccano.
Yeah.
Which is very similar, just nuts and bolts. And I've done some good money on early Meccano pieces, but I've never really dabbled that much in the Lego. But again, as with the other bits, I'm learning happily.
It's with Lego, I think it's great because Lego is Lego and it all has value. And then within that, if you care to learn and you care to do the research, you can very quickly just start pulling out the stuff and learning as you go. But you can make money, as you did, buying a job lot cheap, selling it on by the kilo. Or you could have just sold that job lot on as a job lot and made instant big money.
Oh yeah.
It depends how far you want to go.
Yeah.
And then this is another great example. And if I had to pick a favorite era and a favorite set, it's the space Lego stuff from the 80s, because I had it as a kid and it's just so cool. Now this, if you ever see this is the monorail stuff. Let me zoom in on it. So these are like little electric trains and they go around this monorail, and it's the coolest stuff. And big kids like us have these set up in their lofts and whole sets of this. It's amazing.
I tell you what, Lego's come on since I used to play with it.
Yeah, well, this stuff was so cool. And that's gone at $339.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea. But all of the space Lego, the vintage stuff, really has a lot of value. And the figures as well. I think I found... Here we go. Now, we all remember the classic space figures. So all you've got here is the classic red. There's a red one, yellow, a black and a blue, a few little accessories, and two little robots. And that's gone at 35. It's amazing. And I sold off hundreds of these. In the early days of when we were doing eBay, I would find Lego and space Lego as well on a weekly basis at the boot sales. And I would get about a $5 for that at that point, maybe a $10 if I was lucky for that. It's just shot up, really has shot up.
Well, I would say, right, that I'd be out at all the car boot sales this year looking for Thundercats, Lego, My Little Pony. But let's be honest, there's going to be no car boot sales this year. But next year, I'm going to be looking for Lego.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. And if you can stomach going through, and it is overwhelming when you get a big job lot because you don't know where to start, but you just methodically go through it, get a load of tubs, and you separate your figures and you separate your whatever you decide, however far you're going to go into it, just get those separate tubs, and you'll be surprised. You know, put some music on, put a YouTube video on, and just sit there. And it's actually, if you get into it and enjoy the detail, it can be quite enjoyable.
I can't say for 1 second I wouldn't enjoy any of it. Not a chance. But if there's profit in it, then I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that might be all I found picture-wise to bring up. Let's have a look. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, that gives you a little idea. I would say to people watching this who have always maybe shied away from it, give it a go. You don't have to go this far into it. And I haven't gone anywhere near as far as I used to with breaking it down. You can just get a job lot, break it down into kilo lots, like you were saying earlier. And there's good money just in doing that. And then maybe next time you'll say, oh, I'll break out the figures and do them individually. Yeah. Oh, and I might research the figures and you'll find a few rare ones, you know, and just learn as you go. But I don't know, it's great. And the demand isn't going away for Lego. If anything, in the time I've been doing eBay, it's just gone through the roof.
Well, if nothing else, right, as you know, my sales plummeted in the last week to 10 days. And I mean, well, not plummeted, they just stopped. And you were still selling Lego. So it shows the strength of Lego, even in today's current market situation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, so, most of what's going out today is all Lego. Our sales are basically Lego today.
There we go.
And I could have predicted that because all the kids are off school now. Or the parents are thinking, oh my God, the kids are up. This is the last day they're coming home. I'm buying a few kilos of Lego.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, should we have a look and see what questions we got?
Yeah, sure.
So I'll say hello to a few people. We got Stu. Hi, mate. Sue Piles of Shame. Karen, M&M Antiques and Collectibles, Car Boot Collectors, and the Loopy Lass. South London Reseller, Grantley Basham, Lee Allen. Anyway, let me go back and have a look for some any questions. What's this? Have you been to Entertainer as a bog off? Buy one, get one free. In Entertainer.
I haven't. I did hear about that, but no, I haven't. I've got so much stock I need to just concentrate on. I've not really been sourcing. I lie. I've actually ordered a huge job lot, which should be here in the next few days. It's coming from Europe.
So we're actually talking by here now about going out and buying brand new from the shop because it's on sale and retailing it yourself.
Well, that's what M&M Antiques are talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said. They managed to buy a lot for the girls, even though they have a bucket of the stuff. Car Boot Collectors, love it. Lego's really cool. Right, here we go. There's a question. Would you sell minifigures as new and sealed blind bags, or would you reopen as picked up hundreds? 19.
I would open them.
I think I'd open them, and I'd have to know if there was anything rare inside.
Yeah, well, those series of minifigures, basically, you would have seen them in supermarkets. So just a blind bag, and there's however many in a series, and it's like buying collector's cards, but you're buying. And I've got a bunch of them here. So it'd be this sort of thing. Like there'll be a Santa Claus, and there'll be a farmer, and there'll be whatever. You're better off. Most of them don't. They all have roughly the same value. I don't think there was ever any particularly rare ones in those, but it stands to reason. If you're a buyer, you're going to want the one you want for your set. So I would break them all open. Even if you do them in little bundles of 5, people will then know what they're getting and buy it. And I think they'd pay more knowing what they're getting than sealed in the packet. You can still do them as new, not in packet. You know, that's what I'd do.
You could always, if you're worried, you could always photograph them sealed and then open them, so they saw them that you opened them.
Yeah. So that, I think this was one of those figures. Hot Dog Man. This isn't actually correct because this has got Harry Potter face, a Ninjago body, and a hot dog outer. I'm actually, while we're talking, I'm going to go through and make up figures, because I've got boxes full of figures without arms, figures without legs, and figures without heads, etc., etc. So I just need to make them up.
I wouldn't know what goes with what. I really wouldn't.
I don't care at this point. I'm just putting them together, so I've got a whole figure. It really doesn't matter. So that's white legs, a police jacket, and a head. That's another figure, and that'll go in a job lot of, say, 20 of a Lego figure. It's got all its components.
You don't know if the figure's complete or if it's a mixed match figure, or would you just not say nothing?
I'll just take a picture. 20 Lego figures, done. To be fair, with the police ones, I will probably go through and pull out all the obvious police ones and change these for some black legs or whatever, and do a job lot of police, loosely based police. But no, a Lego figure in a bundle sells. So as long as I've got there you go. Oh, that's nice. Didn't notice. We were just talking about space vintage.
Yes, there's your space.
So I'm going to find some blue legs, put them on. I find a classic smiley head. Like if we go back to that picture quick, find a classic smiley head with just a plain smile, because they changed them all. I must have one somewhere. I'll make up a space figure there and sell him on his own.
Right. South London reseller missed the book. Can you show that again quickly?
There's a few available. There's probably a more up-to-date one as well. You can get these for the Harry Potter series, etc. And all it does is it lists them all and gives you all of the names. For example, if you don't know who you've got, it makes it a lot easier to research it and find out if it's rare, etc. But just have a browse on Amazon or eBay. Lego Encyclopedia.
It's typical of all of us resellers, Sue. We come to do work and end up on a film.
Hi, Sue. Sue loves the Lego as well. I sent a Lego brick to Sue I assume to finish a set she was trying to build just last week.
Grantley there, Lego is selling well in the current climate. Well, yep. I think the answer to that is yes, because you've already sold a few pieces today and yesterday. Yeah,
and I think toys and games generally will rise. In our chat yesterday, people were saying that they've sold out of all their puzzles. We had one puzzle left in stock yesterday that went. So you've got to think, what are people doing if they're cooped inside? They're doing puzzles. They're playing board games. Board game sales apparently are up. Lego is perfect to keep the kids amused. So it makes sense, doesn't it? I don't think you'll be selling much. What will you not be selling much of? Camping gear right now, for example.
Well, actually, do you know what? You might be wrong there, because people want survival stuff. Camping, gas masks, anything life-saving, and that type of stuff. End of the world, Armageddon type of stuff. It might sell.
Maybe. Okay.
All these films with this type of scenario, they sell all that type of gear, no problem at all. I'm in the wrong business. The Allen project here, Lee Allen, got 50 kilos of mixed Lego to sort through. Rather you than me.
50 kilos, yeah. So that's a bit more than what I've just dealt with. Might be a good time to sell. Definitely. Yeah, get on it.
What's this one? Do you remember when you were going to pick up a full-size built horse of Lego bricks?
Do you remember when you were going to pick up a full-size built house? That was my April Fool from about 4 years ago. I put out a video.
Yeah.
James May from Top Gear did a series of like giant-sized toys, and they built a house out of Lego, out of genuine Lego. They actually built it for the TV series, and nobody quite knew where all the bricks went. So I did a spoof video saying that a friend of a friend of a friend had tipped me off to where all this Lego was, and I'd done a deal for the whole lot, and I'd bought like 10 tons of Lego or something, and people believed me. It was fun.
I think it was last year or the year before, they'd done a display in Cardiff, and I think they've done one every year since, and they are making giant animals, and you name it, characters out of Lego. And I'm talking 6 foot, 7 foot pieces. And they're displaying them down in Cardiff Bay every year. I'm sure I went to see them a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Shocking the stuff they've been making out of Lego now. And if you look at some of the stuff that's made on YouTube, some people having millions of views on some of the stuff they've made. Just making Lego stuff. It's Martin. Hiya, fella. Oh, there you go. 250 with the Death Star was new.
Wow. That was a good investment then if somebody bought a load.
Back to the Future Lego sells well, apparently. Well, Back to the Future, anything sells well. Have you seen those new DeLoreans that they do now that float? They're magnetic and they actually hover over the base. And they rotate, and it's literally the DeLorean. Anyway, all the adverts on Amazon show you the DeLorean floating around the screen. You click on it to go and buy it, and it says, not the floating version. The floating version's like £1,500, something like that.
Wow.
It's crazy money because I love Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that the Back to the Future stuff goes well. And they did a short run of Ghostbusters stuff. And because Lego tend to limit the runs of their stuff,
yeah,
it instantly has a value, and that tends to just creep up. Like they've done Simpsons sets, and all sorts of stuff. Lego Black Pearl,
Pirates Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah. I found a figure when I was sorting earlier, quite a cool one. Let me see if I can find it while you're reading out comments.
That's all right. You carry on looking. What we got? Again, I'm 40 now. I had loads of the space stuff, including monorail. 4 big stack crates full of Lego. It sold it all for £50. Yeah, I do as well.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Sue, commission. We've just educated Sue.
Oh, there you go, Sue. Yeah, have a look. Do little bundles or just even individually. You'll sell those. Oh, here you go. Right.
Hang on.
Who's that in the chat?
Is that a crow? No, it's not a crow. Who was that?
It's from the Lone Ranger. So was he called Tonto in that?
Tonto the Indian, yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Depp played him.
Did he really?
Yeah, they did. The film was an absolute flop. It's one of the biggest money-losing films in history.
Series as well, massive series on it.
There was a TV series, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, years and years ago. But this was a film they made a few years ago. But it was a disastrous flop. It cost the film company like, I don't know, £100 million or something, and lost revenue. And the Lego sets weren't that popular either, so he's not worth a great deal. But yeah, quite interesting.
In Antiques and Collectibles, something that wasn't popular, which didn't sell in big numbers, is now worth more.
Yes. So it may be one for the future. It may be worth one for the future, but these are cool. During the Olympics, they released a set of these Team GB. That's just the base plate that it stands on. And they're really quite collected. He's got a little medal that comes off. So that's the boxer guy, although he's got the wrong head.
Is that a taekwondo head?
Well, I think that's the correct little helmet thing, but he's actually got the wrong head. He's not meant to have shades on, from what I remember. But I'll probably just sell him as he is, because I can't be bothered to go through everything and find the right head now. But here's another cool one. Those little figure sealed bags that they sell in supermarkets, I'm sure this came from that little, what's it called, the clown Poirot thing, whatever he's called. Well,
you know, when you come up with Tonto, this was Chris Tyler's guess at Tonto, who he was. Tina Turner. I love it. It doesn't look much like Tina Turner, but I love it.
Before she's done her hair and makeup.
More like Alice Cooper, but hey ho.
Yes, it does look like Alice Cooper. Or Kiss. Yeah. So there you go. That's Lego. I love it. I thoroughly recommend it as something anybody can dabble in. You don't need much knowledge, if any, to sell Lego. You really don't. And eBay is a resource to find out perhaps the best way to list something. Is there a market for a certain set? Is there a market for a certain figure? It's all on eBay. There are hundreds of thousands of listings all day, every day on eBay of Lego.
And it's a pretty safe bet, and let's be honest, you're still selling it on what's going on, so it's got to be a safe bet.
Yeah. In the world of toys, there's no demand for anything more than Lego. There really isn't. And it's worldwide. We ship a lot internationally. So, yeah, give it a go, I would suggest. You can't really lose out. Going back to when I used to buy Lego in bulk and I did nothing but Lego, we would pay up to £10 a kilo as a dealer, as long as it was mixed. So the lots you sold at the car boot, dealers probably were buying that. If they had a quick lummish, all the figures are still in here, and that, £10 a kilo, I'd have probably bought everything you had.
Well, it was one bloke did buy it all. That's why I said it was a dealer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No doubt he'd split it up and sell it on.
And that's how I used to operate. We used to buy, the biggest lot we ever bought was 1,000 kilos in one lot, and that filled our camper van.
1,000 kilos? That's a ton.
No, it couldn't have been 1,000. Must have been 100. Sorry, I'm getting carried away again.
That's the weight of a good heavy car.
It wasn't 1,000. It was 100. So 100 kilos. And we drove to, now where was it? Dudley. So we drove a long way to pick it up. And did very well out of that. That was because the job lot was from a collector. Sadly, a chap had passed away and he'd been collecting for years, had a lot of Star Wars, had a lot of really nice stuff. It hadn't been gone through. You could see in the pictures, all the figures were there. There were boxes of figures and loads of Star Wars part built and complete sets. So we went for it. And there were very few people bidding on it because it was such a big lot and the money was huge. So yeah, but not anymore. I don't do that anymore.
Maybe you should.
Maybe.
Right. Well, we got no more comments. Have you got anything else you want to add in before we call it a day?
No, I just want to say, as I said to you before we went live, I watched your video you put out about how what you're having to do with the shop and what you're going through. So I want to say I really felt for you watching that. I've had to. And it's so hard. I've been there with retail and had to close a couple of outlets, and it becomes part of who you are. You put your heart and soul into that. I remember watching when you set the new shop up.
I'm so proud.
And yeah, and obviously I've been down to visit you, and you've put everything into that. So I know what you're going through. I know a little bit of what you're going through. So I just want to say, yeah, we're here for you. We know it's tough.
Thank you.
And yeah, it was heart-wrenching watching you explain that on that video. It really was.
To be honest, though, I didn't have a script or nothing. It was just, I didn't know how to start. I didn't know what to say. So it was literally just come on and just say it as it is. I'd done a video a week earlier. I don't know whether you watched that one, which was my predictions on what was to come for resellers. So basically, the impact of what was coming on the reselling community. And to be totally honest with you, within 24 hours or 48 hours of putting that video out, my sales went from £1,000 to £1,200 a week to less than £50 a week. The shop has been struggling anyway, because last month, as you know, all we had were floods. There must have been 1,000 houses in the village I live in flooded up to the second story window. I got a cheek to moan that business has been non-existent when people's homes are flooded out. I almost feel guilty moaning about my business. But the video yesterday wasn't about moaning. It was about updating the followers and supporters and people who've supported me through my journey, and telling them what's going on and the precautions I'm making to make sure I stay as a reseller and keep making videos on YouTube. So the closing of the shop is devastating to me, but it's something I have to do in order to keep the lifestyle I've got, because there's just no way I can continue maintaining the costs of running a shop. In 10 days in the shop, I think I've done 2 sales, one at 30 and one at £18 in 10, 12 days.
Yeah.
It's just not viable. And it's been like that now since Christmas. And I use the excuse, January's always quiet in the shop. Good for eBay, quiet in the shop, because people always overspend at Christmas on credit cards and what have you. So I always wipe off January anyway. In February, we had, well, I think 2 years of rain in a month. It was ridiculous. Rivers burst their banks. People's homes were flooded. We had cars. The car park just in front of my shop where you parked was 10 foot deep of water. Cars were floating around.
Jeez.
It was 10 foot deep. My mate, literally half a mile up the road, he was upstairs filming live the water rising up his stairs to the second story. And he was in the house with his family. You know, in that aspect, I've got a cheek to moan about bad business going bad. But
like I said to you earlier, that there's always somebody who's worse off than you, but it doesn't negate how much of a struggle this is for you and how difficult it is to close a shop. That's the point. You know, I think most people who follow your channel will know how much you put into it and how much it means to you. So
this is a shock to me. This was my life.
Exactly, and it's huge, and it's gonna be a big wrench to pack it all up and move it. And
I'll be honest with you, when I take it all out here now in the next 3 weeks, and have to paint the shop and pay £3,000 to get out of the contract, it's going to be quite a few tears spilled. I can assure you that. Yeah. At the moment, it's brave face because I still got a month or two of working in here. But yeah, it's going to be. I'll probably take a bit of time off YouTube, maybe a couple of weeks off YouTube, just to sort myself out.
Well, it may be that the social content and the support might be what you need at the time. See how you feel.
Probably is. What I've always done all my life is isolate myself into a corner and hide.
Yeah.
I'll do what's needed, but then
I'll be bugging you. I'll be chatting to you whether you like it or not. Right.
Anyway, should we call it by there?
Yeah.
Guys, honestly, thank you very much for watching and supporting. Nick Hills, wonderful. Thank you for coming on. The link to Nick's channel is in the description, and I've pinned it in the comments. And there's a little link to the video I done when I bought the Lego a year or two ago in the description as well. If anybody wants to go and see the actual Lego I bought, it was a hell of a job lot. Other than that, that's it for today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon. We'll do another one in a couple of weeks over on my channel, where I don't know if we're going to carry on talking about silver or we'll move on. We'll have a chat about that.
We'll have a chat. We'll figure something out.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Take care.